Good evening, and welcome to Between the Covers. My name is Jeffrey Gorio, your host, and I thank you for your time and your ear. Today's reading is from the book Love Virus by Jackie Turner. Ashley was ready. She'd made up her mind. 35 was too young to be tied to a man she didn't love, a man who frequently scared her and had begun to disgust her. She sat on the small love seat she'd bought with so much hope 2 years ago. He was charming then, handsome, and thoroughly able to hide the fact that he was a raging alcoholic. She should have known better. She'd met him at a bar. Pepper and Wesley, her rescue dogs, paced the small living room. They could tell she was nervous. Adopting the dogs had been the best choice she'd ever made. She brought them with her from San Francisco. They were her friends and her support system. Mark hated them, of course. She'd begun to suspect that he left them outside all day when she was working out of town. She took a deep breath and opened her front door. She shivered as the chill November air hit her. The dogs cavorted at her ankles, unsure if they were going outside. They stepped out onto the porch and sniffed. She lifted the suitcases and boxes full of Mark's things as she had packed up and carried them out onto the small porch. She called the dogs in and shut the door. Now to wait. This was the third night in a row Mark had not come home after work. It was already 9 o'clock. The last 2 nights he'd come home smelling of whiskey and barked at her when she asked why he was late. This would stop tonight. All they did was fight anymore, and her friends from work were sick of hearing about it. She finally got tired of hearing herself complain, too. It was time for action. Headlights swept by the front window as the car parked unevenly in front of the condo. She stood back from the front door, almost in the kitchen, breathing fast and her heart hammering. Her dogs stood on either side of her like sentinels. She heard Mark stumble up the steps, then stop. He must have noticed the boxes. The door flew open as he charged in, his brown eyes blazing, his tie askew. "What's this?" he slurred, rage distorting his handsome face. "Mark," she started, her voice squeaking. She took a breath and started again. "I want you out of my house." "Your house is just as much mine as it is yours. You leave if you're unhappy. I'm sick of seeing your face anyway. You used to be fun, but now you're just a bitch." He knew she hated when he called her that, but she had coached herself not to rise to his bait. "All we do is fight, and all you do is drink. You know it's my place. I need you to leave." He came toward her, his face flushed, his eyes bulging. Her heart was in her throat. Would he hit her? He never had. Not with fists, anyway, just his words. He stepped closer, but still out of striking distance. His hands were fisted. She started talking fast. "Look, I left San Francisco to be with you, and we found this place together. I'm not moving back there, and I'm not moving out of the condo. I love it here." He slowed and stood, swaying as if trying to process what she was saying, so she kept on talking. "I love my job and my life in Reno, and I love my home. It's my house, too." "Mark, you know it's my name on the contract because of your bad credit. I help pay the bills and buy the furniture. I'm not leaving." This wasn't true. She'd bought most of the furniture, too, except the things he'd brought with him into the relationship, and most of those were old. She'd replaced them over time. As he advanced toward her, she stood her ground and held her phone up. "I've got 911 on speed dial. You need to leave right now." He took another step, his face purple with rage, but stumbled backwards as her dogs jumped in front of her, barking and snarling. "I hate those fucking dogs of yours. You always liked them better than me." Pepper's hackles were up and Wesley crouched, moving slowly toward Mark, who backed toward the door. She had never seen them act this way. "I'll be back, bitch. You haven't seen the last of me." He then left, slamming the door. Thank you, and salute.